Oh yeah. So next short video I'll be doing will just be talking about um, the state versus state capital clash type event that's happening tomorrow. So a couple of quick tips. I just want to demonstrate how they're done. So first things first is it's going to be, I imagine, hopefully quite a hectic event. There's going to be lots going on. There's going to be lots of attacks that we're doing, lots of rallies to jump on, and hopefully, and I say this in with the best intentions, hopefully lots of people attacking us as well, so we can practice our defensive organizational skills. So what's going to happen is you're going to be attacked hopefully a fair bit, and you need to be using your shields. So if you go to the Alliance button down here and you go to the Alliance store, this is a place where you can regularly get additional shields. So you can see I've already purchased one today. I had 70% off, and in general I'd always recommend to buy them when they have 70% off, potentially even 40% off if you know you're going to need a fair few in the relatively near future. So make sure you buy some. But you don't have to use the ones that you buy because you do get some that are free. So let's just say, for example, we've ported in and we've done some attacks, and then a couple of hours later, I need to have a little break, so I'm going to come back a couple of hours later. Rather than using the ones that I've paid for, if you go to your HQ and then onto settlement buffs, you have these peace flares, and you get, I think, 5 of these for free, and they refill as well. So in just over 3 hours. I used one earlier today. In just over 3 hours, it's going to top me up by 1. So I had 5, I used 1, which means I've still got 4 free ones left to use, and in 3 hours time, it's going to bump me back up to 5 again, because they renew themselves. So you can see here, this is a better screen to display this. The free ones are at the top here, and the ones that I've purchased, the ones that I own, are down here. So if I use the ones that I own, I literally only have 5. Once I've used them, they're gone. If I use the free ones, and these are 8-hour ones as well, so I can use an 8-hour flare, which is the shield or the bubble as we call it, and it's used 1 out of the 5, and then I'm going to get one back again in 3 hours to top that back up again. So that's fantastic. So make sure you make use of that. The next thing that's going to be really important is the recon jammer. So this is really important when you're in battles. If someone tries to recon you, they get to see what level your heroes are at, they get to see what troops you have and all that kind of information. So if you use a recon gemmer, simply they can't see any of that information. So if they're looking for a weak target, if they don't know if you're a weak target or not, it makes you much less likely to be that target. So the other benefit with the recon jammer is that if you have it on, if you're setting rallies, people can't see how many people have joined your rally. In fact, they can't even see if people have joined your rally. So this is also really good because people won't know what to expect once you set a rally at them. So if, for example, we're in the process and we're attacking a hive of enemies, but they're online and they're trying to reinforce each other. If I was to set one rally, then it's very, very easy for them to go and focus all of their reinforcement efforts at that one person that's being attacked. However, if I set 5 rallies, and they don't know how many people are on each rally, it's a very tricky thing for them to then go ahead and try and defend effectively. So as long as the communication is good within our alliance, and we say very clearly, I'm going to set 5 rallies, I want you all to join this specific rally, and we have everyone jump onto one particular rally. Obviously, the rally leader is going to need to make sure that if anyone does, if they don't read the chat and they jump on the wrong rally, they need to be kicked off of that rally and then pushed to join the correct rally. What's going to happen is after the 5 minutes are up, all the rallies are going to launch. One of them is going to be very, very, it's going to be full, it's going to be powerful, and it's going to do a lot of damage. The other 4 are going to just cancel, or maybe you might want to put an extra troop on there from somewhere else so it does actually launch and you just lose that troop. But what it's going to do is massively confuse the enemy. They won't know where to send their troops to defend. They're going to feel overwhelmed, and also then when they do get hit by the powerful one, they're going to lose a lot of troops. Unless they're able to fully reinforce all 5 settlements, they're going to be stuck. Okay, so use recon jammers for your own defensive purposes, and also consider using them to confuse the enemy if you're attacking a hive. So we've spoken about the peace flare and how to use that. Sorry, one thing I forgot to mention actually with the peace flare is if you have a peace flare on, you can still reinforce anyone else in your alliance without losing that flare. If you make an attack, if you make a rally, then you will lose the flare, it will force it to come off. If you're reinforcing, if you're doing defensive work, then it doesn't come down. So what I would recommend is for the 75% of our, I say weaker, that's not the right word, but the weaker 75% of our alliance is during the event, if we're being attacked a lot, then I'd recommend the weaker 75% use the bubble and reinforce the strongest 25%. The strongest 25% don't use the peace flare at all unless they're going offline, and this forces the opposition to focus their attacks on our strongest people. So when they attack, not only are they facing the same amount of total troops, but they're also facing stronger heroes, stronger buildings that have BP and all of these things, stronger research that adds to the BP. So if we force them to attack our strongest people, it puts the odds more in our favour. And those who are in the sort of bottom 75% of our alliance can still reinforce with their T9 troops, and they'll get much better much better results in a close battle if you're reinforcing our strongest people rather than our strongest people reinforcing our weakest. So we spoke a lot about the peace flare, we spoke about the recon jammer. The other combat buffs are all very much worth using, and most of these appear in your backpack, so you can use them from there. So just to highlight that, if you jump into your backpack, they're normally at the bottom here. So we've got the recon jammer here, you can just click use if that's easier, and you've got the other attack ones such as the attack boost, which gives you a 6% attack boost for 2 hours. Obviously if you're online for a couple of hours and you're doing lots of attacks, then feel free and use that. You can use it here, or you can use it on the buff screen from the HQ that I was just showing you a second ago. So March Accelerator, I'm sure everyone's familiar with this one. Troop damage boost. So we had this one, this is the troop attack boost. The troop damage boost is very, very similar. It's a 12% boost, and this one lasts for 12 hours. So that's going to be certainly something I'll be using for the entire event. So make sure you use these items. It's very important that you do as much damage as possible, that you have as little damage inflicted to you as possible. The next topic I just want to talk about quickly is healing. These heal speed up items, we still want you to save all of them for the Reservoir Raid events. Now if you're a person that never gets chosen for the Reservoir Raid events, then perhaps you can go ahead and use these, but if you want to be included in the Reservoir Raid events, it's important that you hoard them, you save them all up, because you don't have the ability to batch heal in the Reservoir Raid, whereas in any other situation, any other event like the one we're going into tomorrow, you can batch heal. So the other thing I'll just quickly mention as well is something I often talk about is your chief talents. So I recommend choosing either just the war tree or just the economy tree. So as you can see on this particular account, I've got all 114 of my talent points attributed towards the war tree, and have if I choose to change them, it will be to the economy tree, and I'll explain the difference. I'm not saying you should choose one or the other, but I'll explain the difference and you can take your pick. So if you go for the war talent tree, you're going to get boosts to all of your attack and lethality of your troops. So these all add up. So you've got 0.9% here, 0.9% there, and the higher you go up, the bigger those percentages get. So if I go all the way up to where I'm up to here, this one here adds on 12% to the health of my riders. This one here adds on 12% to the lethality of all my riders. So the cumulative effect of all of these perks means that my attacks are simply going to be stronger. They're going to do more damage, I'm going to have more health, and also my march capacity is going to be bigger. So if you want to inflict the most possible damage, be on the war tree. However, if there's still a strong case to be had for being on the economy tree for the event, and the main perk here is the battle dressing. This is the one that heals your troops faster. So I always choose, when I swap to the economy tree, I always choose the bottom row. You've got the top one is to do with how much space, how much capacity you have in your hospital. The bottom one is to do how fast you can heal your troops. So this is really important. If, for example, we go into a battle and it's a close battle, we're gonna get a fair few wounded troops. If we lose a battle, then we're going to get tens of thousands of wounded troops from a single battle. It might take us 24 hours, 48 hours or more to heal all of those troops. So if you have all of these battle dressings, as you go through, there's a few of them applied because you're fully on the economy tree, then what you'll find is your total heal time is going to be about half. So you may have, for example, 80,000 wounded troops, and say, I'm guessing the numbers here, but let's just assume that 80,000 troops takes 4 days to heal. If you're on the economy tree with all of those perks added, it might only be 2 days to heal. And so when you're batch healing, you'll be healing kind of, for example, 1 hour at a time or half an hour at a time or something like that. It's literally going to take you half as long to heal your troops before you can send your full army back into battle again. So there's a strong case for both. There's a strong case for having bigger march size and more kind of percentage buffs to your attack and your defense stats. There's also a strong case to be had for healing your troops faster and therefore getting back into the battle quicker. So take your pick, but choose all on one or all on the other. So I think that's really it. Just a couple of minor things to mention about the event tomorrow as well is we need to locate pretty much in a hive formation. We need to be able to defend each other. If we're not in a hive formation, it means those that are outside of the hive are very difficult to defend. And like I said, use your recon jammer. If you're going offline, consider either using a bubble or send all of your troops out to reinforce others so that if they're attacked, you help. And I want everyone to go into this with the mentality of it's nearly risk-free. Okay, now you might have, I've 100, 200, 300,000 troops, however many you've got, you can potentially lose all of them without worrying too much. So I'll just use the example of having 300,000 troops if you're lucky enough to have that many. Have a look at what your hospital capacity is. So I'll just jump onto mine here and I'll show you. If you click onto heal, it tells you I can have 100,000, so 100,000 and 300 troops to be specific, in my hospital. So if I've got 300,000 troops, and you're on, for example, like me, HQ 27, so your hospital is this big, you can have 100,000 troops go into the hospital, and therefore I could have 200,000 troops die. Those 200,000 troops that die, they're only dead for the event. Once the event finishes, there's a revival stage, which means you can bring your troops back to life, which I think is quite ironic considering this is a zombie game. But there we go. So you can revive your dead troops after the event. You get 30% of them healed for free. Another 10% can be healed by using biocaps, and it's 2,250 biocaps per 1%. So you want to store and make sure you have 22,500 biocaps in your reserves so that you can heal that extra 10% of troops there. And then the other 50% of your troops can be healed. Everyone in the alliance is going to have some kind of tickets that are gifted out to you. And so if I have, for example, I've used my free 30%, I've topped up another 10% using biocaps, I've got 40% of my 200,000 dead troops healed. And I can heal up to 50% more by requesting help from the alliance. And so every alliance member can use their tokens they're given to heal other people's troops. You can't use them to heal your own troops. So those who have had the biggest losses need to make sure they're requesting this, and then you can get an additional 50% of your troops healed in this way. So in total, the 200,000 troops you may have lost, you can heal up to 90% of those, which means you've only actually lost 20,000, and 20,000 troops lost from a big event like this is not too bad. It's not ideal, so hopefully many of us will lose a lot less than that. But as a worst case scenario, if you spend all, you go kind of hell for leather for the event and you have loads and loads of battles and you take some risks and you lose all your troops, it's fine. Okay, you can heal your troops. So that's just a quick breakdown of some of the things we're going to be doing in the event and how you can use your items to get the best possible effect. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you've got any questions, let me know, and I'll see if I can make another video for you. Cheers.